Hello, 80s pop fans, and welcome back to Mirrors. Last time, David and Susanna went on a research trip trying to figure out where the heck this crest came from, and it was terribly exciting. Just non-stop thrill ride. And then afterwards, they and the rest of the band went and had a nice Italian dinner. Before we begin today, I found some potentially interesting information. I was scrolling through YouTube, as one does sometimes, and I found a soundtrack upload of this game's music that properly credits the composers, and the information seems to be legit. In-game, the composers for Mirrors' soundtrack are simply credited as Vision, which is cheeky, but also a little rude. Like, people should be credited for the things they do. This was a much more common practice for composers to be credited under pseudonyms back in the late 80s and early 90s for whatever reason. I'm not going to get too into that. I'm not terribly knowledgeable about the subject, but it's not good. Anyway, according to what I have found, the music for Mirrors was actually composed by two people, Haruhiko Sono and Masaharu Takeda. Sono is not to be confused with the very similarly named Haruhiko Shono, who is a game designer known for some early 3D adventure games in the early 90s. Like, there's one called, I think it's called Gadget Adventure, Invention Travel Adventure, something like that. Adventure something. And there's one that's like a museum setting based on Alice in Wonderland, and some others. But Mr. Sono, Haruhiko Sono, seems to have mainly worked on visual novels in the 90s. And I think Masaharu Takeda is a singer. Google was strangely unhelpful on him. I don't know why. But yeah, I just thought that was neat. Sorry for the 2-minute tangent right at the start of the video. Let's just keep going. Back at the hotel, David was worried about having a nightmare, so he asked Susanna to give him some of her pills. Turn the game volume up a little bit. Whether it was the pills or the wine, David fell asleep without dreaming, and was able to wake up late in the morning feeling refreshed. Once again, Clark and Vince were inside their car, parked behind the hotel. There's been no changes in Susanna's behavior during her stay in Rome. They should be leaving for Germany after tonight's concert. Let me just try that line again. You read the papers this morning? I could hardly believe it myself. Damiel Horkai, the owner of that house with the crest, was found murdered. Yeah, it appears he was murdered around midnight. We were outside the restaurant the whole time, so we know Susanna had nothing to do with it. David searches for the crest, a fortune teller points the way, he finds Horkai, and bam, he ends up dead. I don't think it's a coincidence. We're talking about an earl here, one with a close connection to the Pope. This ain't your run-of-the-mill murder. Chief, I know you're trying to find something on Susanna, and I agree that she does act suspicious here and there, but we can't pin Horkai's murder on her. That has to be a coincidence. After the sun went down, Vision was ready to begin their last concert in Rome. Just like the previous time, David's energy fueled the crowd's excitement. The new sorting of the songs had the desired effect. While some of the audience collapsed from anemia, generally speaking, the concert ended without issues. You know, aside from all the people with anemia, apparently, but that's fine, I guess. The next day, the band left the country from Rome's airport, seen off by a large crowd of fans. I was about to say loud, but I guess that's also true technically. They were headed for the Frankfurt am Main airport in West Germany. David was still unaware of the murder of Damiel Horkai. When they reached the airport, rather than by their excited fans, they were surrounded by members of the press. Reaching the hotel was more problematic than they had expected. When they reached the Park Hotel, near the center of Frankfurt, they found security struggling to keep their fans from crowding the entrance, and the airplane noise still going off high overhead. Before their tour of Europe, the man wouldn't even dream to be in a similar situation. They all gathered in Alan's room. I'm glad we decided to go on this tour. Who knew we'd ever be this popular? This is cool and all, but I can't wait to go back to England. You know what? I'm going to write a new song for the last concert back home. Well, we've got 2 days before our next performance. What are we doing in the meantime? Some friends of mine asked me to buy some souvenirs, so I'd like to go out. Where's Susanna? I think she got a call from our promoter and left. Yeah, let's work on our new song. You weren't there last time, David, so... We've got 2 days, so you'd better make time for that. With that said, how about we eat something? The band left the hotel to look for a restaurant. Are my headphones screwing up, or is the game really quiet? I'm gonna trust that the volume knob is in the correct place. Meanwhile, Clark and Vince were driving through the Märchenstrasse. I think that's how you pronounce that correctly. They were, of course, tailing Susanna's taxi. Not even a day since they're in West Germany, and Susanna's already going on a trip all by herself. Where do you think she's going? We're already past Kassel, so maybe she's going to Hameln. She's got to be meeting up with someone. I hope so. I really want to try out this baby. This wiretap here is state-of-the-art, West German made. It's a shame we didn't have it back then in Paris. It was recommended by a fellow detective from West Germany. He says it's the best thing his country ever made. We're almost in Hameln. Is she gonna stop here? Susanna's car stopped in front of a riverside restaurant. She walked inside. After confirming the name of the restaurant from its sign, Clark and Vince followed her. I guess we don't get to find out. The restaurant was surprisingly crowded considering its rural position. Susanna was seated at a table in a corner. As there were no empty tables close by, Clark and Vince were forced to take a seat further away than they had intended. On Clark's prompt, Vince approached the table next to Susanna's and exchanged a few words with a customer. Vince returned a few moments later. It's done, Chief. The wiretap's under the table. Her table, even. Way to go. And by the way, what did you tell the guy? I told him that his plate looked delicious and asked him the name of the dish. Apparently they're fried herrings, the cheapest and yet tastiest dish of this place. I don't really like fish, but if you're coming here, you just gotta try them, so... If you don't, that guy might come here and start chatting us up in German. Then Susanna might notice us, and it'll all go south from there. So you'd better order your damn herrings. Alright, I get it. But you gotta eat them too, Chief. As the fried herrings were brought to their table, I could mess up some fried fish, honestly. A man sat in front of Susanna. That sounds really good, actually. Vince took a picture of the man with the hidden camera, while Clark put on an earphone. The problem is that fish generally isn't very cheap. I'm getting too distracted in the middle of this reading. The man was about 30 years old or so. From the way he was dressed, Clark had the feeling he was some kind of artist, rather than a businessman. He wondered if he enjoyed fried herring. Susanna greeted him with a smile, as if she was acquainted with him. I completely forgot what voice I was going to use for this dude. My name is Gokul. Thank you for your help back in London. And thank you for coming all the way here. Have there been changes in the Devil King's condition?
The wall between dream and reality is about to collapse. His body shows the bruises from injuries he receives in his dream. There is no better proof.
Yesterday I've been told that the blood of the betrayer has been severed. This is wonderful news.
Yet another sign of the power of the Devil King. It was another miracle born from his dream.
Seemingly there is someone capable of severing the blood of sorcery here in West Germany, but we've been unable to find any leads.
We need the power of the Devil King for that. Speaking of which, did you bring what we talked about?
Gokul took out a small box from his pocket, placed it on the table, and opened it.
So this is the ring mentioned at the London gathering. Are you sure I can take it?
This ring is more valuable than our own lives. We would all give them gladly for the sake of the rebirth. Take it.
From dream to reality, and from reality to dream. May our dearest wish come true.
By the way, David's becoming more and more popular. It must be hard taking care of him.
I admit that it's hard getting used to it. I'm always busy dealing with security and the press.
You'd better eat up before our food gets any colder. These fried herrings are delicious. Susanna put the ring box in her bag and started eating her meal with Gokul.
Strangely, she was just eating plain toast.
Come on, Chief, it's not fair. I want to listen too.
You can listen to the tape. That's not his voice. You can listen to the tape later. Now eat your herring.
At least tell me what they're talking about.
It's not something you'd get if I paraphrased it. Just wait until later and you'll hear it from the tape.
Just give me the keynotes.
Well, seems that Susanna and that Gokul guy met at some meeting in London. They mentioned a Devil King, the blood of the betrayer, severing the blood of sorcery. This Devil King could be some kind of nickname, but the rest just sounds like some kooky occult crap. It sounds like the purpose of this meeting was for Gokul to give Susanna some kind of prized ring. She already put it in her bag, though. I didn't get a look at it.
Yeah, I don't get what they're talking about at all. I'll listen to the tape later.
Susanna and Gokul finished their meal and left. You follow Gokul. I'll keep tailing Susanna. Clark and Vince followed the two marks. Gokul let Susanna into his car and drove off. Gokul was driving towards Frankfurt. Just as the sun was setting and the artificial illuminations were lighting up, Gokul stopped near David's hotel. After dropping Susanna off, he drove away. After dropping Clark off, Vince went after Gokul's car. Susanna went inside the hotel. She addressed the clerk at the front desk.
Is the band here? They left a while ago. They left the keys in my care, so they must still be out.
Susanna took her room key and headed for the elevator. At about 10 o'clock, the band returned to the hotel. Andrew was not with them.
You okay, David? You might have had one beer too many.
No way, I'm great. German beer is the best in the world. You can't get sick from it, ever. I apologize if my drunk David isn't very good. I don't really drink alcohol most of the time. I don't have anything against it, I just don't care for it personally, so I don't really know how to talk drunk, but I'm doing my best.
Can you believe, Andrew? A woman shows the slightest interest in him and off he goes.
He's cool. I wish I could be like him. I don't have anything else besides music. And money. Yeah, I don't think we're practicing our new song tomorrow. Andrew's probably gonna be wasted tomorrow.
Think Susanna's back? She was checking out the venue, right?
She's a hard worker, that woman. The tour wouldn't be this successful without her.
Alan, I heard there's some issues with the manufacturing of our records. How much are we really gonna earn from this ordeal? Well, revenue is split 50-50 between the band and the office, so... individually... I'm too drunk to do math, but I'm pretty sure we'll be rolling in it. I'm off to bed. I'd better sleep while I'm drunk, or I'll have nightmares.
Is Andrew going to be okay on his own? He always got carried away easily, and it just got worse with popularity.
Don't worry about what happened at that Italian restaurant. In the end, we all had fun. As for Andrew, he's a big boy. He can take care of himself. Now let's get some sleep.
The three of them went to their respective rooms. As David was getting dressed, someone knocked at his door. He opened the door. It was Susanna.
You're back. Oh dear, your face is all red. You've been drinking, haven't you?
Just a little. David let Susanna in, closed the door, and kissed her. Don't drunk kiss people, dude.
I love you too. Oh, I brought you some medicine. How are you feeling?
I think I'm okay, but I'll take some just in case. The nightmare guy shows up whether I feel well or not.
David, I have to tell you something about your nightmares. Listen to me, okay?
Susanna took the ring out of her pocket and handed it to David.
I found this ring.
What does this have to do with my nightmares?
It's said that you won't have nightmares if you wear this ring. Someone at the promoter's office is into exorcisms. I told them that I was having constant nightmares and they recommended this item.
Like some kind of dream catcher? Never took you for the superstitious type. I can understand pills, but I don't see how a ring would do anything.
Mind over matter, as they say. If you convince yourself that you won't have nightmares while wearing the ring, then you won't have them.
I suppose it won't hurt to try. Besides, you went through the trouble of getting it for me. Will it fit?
David put on the ring.
What do you know? It's just my size. I have to admit, it's a pretty wicked design. It might actually work.
I'm sure it will.
At that moment, the phone rang. Hey, Alan, what's up? Huh? Andrew? Okay, I'll call Susanna and we'll meet up in the lobby.
Did something happen to Andrew?
Apparently, he lost a whole lot of money playing cards. You see, we were about to come back here when he met a woman who could speak English, and...
We'd better go before we have a major problem on our hands. I'll get the checkbook. We'll meet in the lobby.
Susanna left the room. David felt uneasy as he thought about Andrew's situation. He set his eyes on the pills Susanna brought him. He always felt more confident after taking them, as if everything would go the way he wanted to. He considered taking them now to quell his anxiety. So, this game is supposed to have 7 different endings. And from what I could tell from my initial playthrough, most of them are triggered by options that look like David decided to do X. It seemed to consistently be that specific wording. So I don't know if this choice matters. Like, I don't know if this is a route divergence, but I will
keep a manual save and a save state here, just in case. Having said all that, excuse me, let's not rely on them. David left his room. Alan and Martin were waiting in the lobby.
Did you talk to Susanna?
Yeah, she'll join us in a minute. So, how much money are we talking about?
He said he lost about 20,000 DM, which is about $32,400 in 1980s money. God knows we can't even account for inflation in this instant. He doesn't have that much, so he'll have to ask Susanna for a loan.
Susanna arrived.
So I've heard. How much did Andrew lose? He told me 20,000 DM, but knowing him, he might still be playing, trying to recoup his losses. I brought the checkbook. I can pay what he owes, but it'll be subtracted from Andrew's income. Let's go.
They hailed a cab in front of the hotel and headed towards the establishment where Andrew was. Once they arrived, they found Andrew playing cards with a well-dressed gentleman. Yo! I've lost a bit more, but my luck is starting to change. I can feel it. Just give me a few, alright?
You shouldn't gamble when you're so drunk, Andrew. Let's go.
Alright, let's make this count. I'm betting 10,000 DM on this. I'm sure you guys brought Lady Luck herself with you.
Considering how much you've let me earn, I'll gladly allow you to pick the stakes. I have to say, you British people are quite the jolly fellows.
The man dealt the cards. Andrew had a 3 of a kind. I'll change 2. Even after changing 2 cards, he still only had a 3 of a kind.
I have a full house of 4s and 8s. It appears you now owe me 30,000 DM, Mr. Andrew. Would you like to continue?
No way I'm stopping. I'm gonna win 10 times as much. Right, Susanna?
No, Andrew. Please stop playing. He's a professional. You'll never be able to win.
I'm not retreating like a loser. I'm playing until I get it all back.
Come on, man. We're all worried about you. Let's go.
Stop trying to trick me, game. Andrew, this isn't a game for amateurs. Try to be reasonable. You're saying that because you're not the one losing money.
Our friend lost 30,000 EM. This check should cover it. Now, please, end this game. Forgive me. I'm actually a fan of Vision, but I take gambling very seriously. Andrew, just forget this ever happened. You too, guys.
The band took a cab and went back to the hotel. Back at the hotel, David was having trouble falling asleep, still excited after his showdown with the professional gambler. Was it a showdown? Is that what you call it? Like, don't sell yourself too short, my dude. He turned off the lights and lied on the bed to no avail. Seriously, you said like one sentence to the guy. He raised his hand towards the ceiling and looked up, for no particular reason. The faint moonlight coming from the window illuminated his hand in the darkness of the night. He noticed some kind of aura around his hand. He kept staring at his hand. Slowly and steadily, the energy was changing shape, following his imagination.
he could see a castle surrounded by nature. The scene changed to two men talking from the top of the castle, looking down at the nature, stretching as far as the eye could see. One of the men looked like David. No, it wasn't a simple resemblance. It was him, as he would look like 10 years in the future.
This is all thanks to your dark arts, Master Hroth. The lands have never been more fertile. The people are eternally grateful to you.
Apparently, the man who looked like an older David was called Hroth. No need to be modest, Lafir. My dark arts merely laid the groundwork. Everything else was your work. Lafir, the other man, seemed to be around 80 years old. He acted like some sort of guardian to Hroth, the king. I hope the people of the north are faring well. I'd like to send them some of our crops.
I'm afraid the King of the North would refuse your assistance. As long as he and his family can live a life of luxury, he doesn't care if his people starve to death.
Is there truly nothing we can do to save them?
My liege, I ask you to forget about the people of the North. The King of the North would take any action as a personal insult. If he were to declare war, we wouldn't be able to defend ourselves.
A king should strive to bring joy to his people. I wish the King of the North understood that.
He already accuses you of being a devil king who uses the dark arts for his own gain. I beg you, sire, do not stir the hornet's nest any further.
Then, Hroth vanished, and the rest of the scenery followed. That wasn't a dream. I was conscious the entire time. I can feel it. Why am I so tired? David tried to summon the scene again, but he was too tired to focus. Soon after, he fell asleep.